Hey, I am Mustafa Sharif. Thank you so much for listening to Urbanistica podcast. This episode is going to be amazing. We're going to talk about sustainability. We're going to talk about many other interesting things that can help us to be more sustainable as individuals. I have the pleasure to welcome my guest, Annika Sundin, to Urbanistica podcast. Hey, and welcome, Annika.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm very humble.
How are you doing?
I'm great, thank you. You actually catch me on my vacation, so that's why this is my background. I love nature, but usually I'm a city girl as well.
Yeah, you're also an Urbanistica.
Yes.
But I see it's so beautiful behind you. Where are you? Is it close to Stockholm?
Yes, it's the northern part of the Stockholm archipelago, you could say. It's in Roslagen, which is 1.5 hours away from Stockholm on the coastline.
Yeah. Are you going to stay there for long, for all the summer?
Yes, that would be the plan. The
Okay.
staycation is extra popular in 2020, but I usually stay here during the summer, so staycation is nothing new for me.
Yeah. What is your plan for the summer? Are you going to read books, write books, or just chill?
I think just like do as little as possible. That's I'm quite an energetic person, so at summertime it's just time for chill.
Yeah, exactly. You need to charge and prepare for the next
Exactly,
season.
exactly.
So, Annika, you're our guest, our storyteller. Please introduce us. Or, well, Annika, you're our storyteller. Please introduce yourself and tell us what are you passionate about?
Well, my passion is, of course, sustainability. But I look at it in a holistic way. I really think that we need to look at it in that way, in a 360 way, not just one area. And for me, sustainability it really goes down to kindness and balance. If we're kind and respectful to ourselves and to others and to Mother Nature, then we will be where we wouldn't wanted to be already. But unfortunately, instead, we're like looking for status. We're working almost ourselves to death. And we're trying to earn as much money as possible to buy things so that we can impress others. I think that's our problem at the moment. So I really think that sustainable lifestyle is something more than just buying things in the right way or not buying things, or it's more like a personal way of choosing life. But so it's hard for me to just choose one area with sustainability. But if you force me, I'd say that it's plastic. We can't recycle ourselves out from the plastic obstacle and the plastic problem that we have at the moment. We really, really need to change, and that sort of it gets me going. We really need to change the way we produce plastic and the way we consume plastic. We also need to put in a lot of education around the world so that we don't dump plastic everywhere.
Yeah, so you're passionate about sustainability and with more focus on the production and post-production of plastic, the recycling as
Yes,
well.
yes.
Mm.
If you force me to choose one area.
No forcing, no forcing. And who is Annika? Tell us about yourself.
Well, I'm a super engaged woman, and energetic. I want to wake people up within the sustainable area, both the personal sustainability, where I think that everything starts, and also to drive change for a more sustainable life. But professionally, I work with communication and project lead, and I've been doing that for 20 years within the areas sustainability, cultural change, employee branding, and change management overall. Privately, I'm married to my high school sweetheart, and together we have two children. Two girls who are 11 and soon to become 8. And we also, this spring, we bought a pre-loved cat.
So the
Uh,
family is expanding.
it's expanding. So that's my family life, and I live in the city center of Stockholm. But we also have a country house. So, and you're catching me at my vacation. So that's why we have the forest behind me.
Yeah, that's very sweet. And Annika, when did you start to care so much about sustainability and this passion about sustainability? Is it something recently or?
I think that we have to go back quite some time, actually, to my childhood. I've been a lot in nature since I was a child, and I have to thank my parents for that. I had the opportunity to spend a lot of time in nature, actually at this island where I'm at the moment. Also, I had a good role model in my mom. She always, she used what she found in nature. We always, there was no overflow of things. We really used what we had, and we picked fruits and berries and mushroom, and we made food out of that. So and I believe that when you spend a lot of time in nature, it becomes natural, and you want to take care of it. So I think that that's a really, really good starting point. You need to be in contact with nature. So I think that was the background. But when I was pregnant in 2008, that was when it all, really, really started off. I became obsessed with chemicals and numbers, the additives in food, and I came up with all sorts of ideas of how to avoid them and so on. So that was the starting point of my obsession.
Yeah, yeah. And we met through Instagram. You have
Yeah.
a really great Instagram account that promoting for sustainability and sustainable lifestyle. Did you also started this when back in time and also, or what is the story
I
of this?
Yeah, well, I was thinking about, starting an Instagram account for quite some time. But when I do something, I want to do it for real and not just, just like that. So I really wanted to have, the energy and time to put into it. And I felt that, this change process is going unbelievably slow. So I thought I just couldn't accept it. I had to do something. And also, I had actually a bit of climate anxiety. And the best thing to get rid of that is to do something. And also, I felt that, and I heard that my friends were inspired by the post that I put up on my private account. So I just woke up one morning, that was 1.5 years ago, and I was like, let's do this. So that was how it started.
Yeah, you remind me also about my podcast story that I also
Yeah.
wanted to do something. The city development's super slow, and
Yeah.
there was this morning when you wake up and you say, "Okay, it's enough. I will do something."
Yeah, exactly. And I just, I can see that, my followers, sometimes they DM me and they say I have this anxiety, and my direct message is just do something, spread the word, do something for yourself, do something for others. So that would help it,
Mm.
both the process and your feelings.
Yeah, and what type of content do you upload and put on Instagram? Is it also focused on plastic?
Yeah, some of it is. I want to spread a positive message that we can all influence, that we can all make a change. We do it differently, but we can, all our decisions, they make an impact. And we can all make conscious decisions. There are so many decisions to take every day, and we just have to start somewhere. That's my message. I don't want to have an alarmistic message. It's just more like a drive to make people wake up and to make people want to do things. I actually heard the other day, my mother, she's always washed plastic bags. And I thought that she was a bit crazy when I was little, but of course I do it myself now. And I heard the other day a friend of mine, she'd spoken to a colleague who somehow they just realized that the colleague was following my Instagram, and she said, "Oh, thank her, because now I'm washing my plastic bags." So you just have to start somewhere.
Exactly.
That's
And
my mission.
yeah, and we're gonna talk more about how we as individual can do these small steps in order to contribute to the sustainability. Because
Yeah.
as we know, sustainability is something super big, and people afraid of going inside what is sustainability and how can we work with it. So, can you narrow down sustainability? What is a sustainable lifestyle for us as individuals?
Mm. Um, Sustainability, as we know, is a huge area. We can't do it all. It's just not possible. But we have to start in daily life. We have to start with what we do often, what is close to ourselves, and what feels in our stomach, because that will get us going. That will give us energy. So I can just say that don't do it. Don't complicate it. Just start somewhere. Do something. And so that's sustainability to me, is that you know get to know things, read things, get inspired, and just take steps, but also be humble. We learn more along the way, things that we know now, and chose things that we choose to do now might not be good in the future. So we really need to be open and see where this will take us. And also, the technique, we haven't seen nothing yet. The development that is going on, we just have to be open. But if you ask me for a sustainable lifestyle, it depends on who you ask, which parts you really focus on. But I would say that it starts with yourself, with your daily life. Maybe you can change the way you transport yourself. Maybe you can change the way you travel. Maybe you can change the way you eat, and all those changes count.
Mm. So step number one is to decide that you will try to have a sustainable lifestyle.
Exactly. It
And
starts with a thought, and then you do something, and then you
yeah.
do something more. So
Step number two is like this educational part that you read, you learn, and number three is to actually apply it on your daily life.
exactly. And that's super, super, super great. But what gives us, the biggest impact is when we influence others. So don't be shy. It's like, just share the good choices you make.
Yeah.
I think that's really
Mm.
the best thing you can do.
Some people believe that, okay, if I share it, I mean, this may be reached to 10 people out there. I'm not influencer. But how important is it to share, to talk about sustainability?
I think that's the most important thing we can do. It's like at work, at the lunch table, at the dinner table. Talk to your children, talk to your parents, talk to your neighbors. It's like, yeah, if you can influence them, it's great. And that's the, what did you say, third step. The fourth step would be to try to influence even bigger, like companies and politicians. So we take it step by step, but that comes further on.
Yeah, exactly. Starting from the individual level.
Yeah,
So as a the first how to say package, sustainability package.
exactly.
Mm. Would you like to share with us some of your activities that you transform from unsustainable to sustainable, or inspire us with some of your daily activities that are sustainable?
I always bring my own from my home. I would never, well, I shouldn't say never, but that would be an exception, like buy a takeaway coffee. Always bring a water bottle and a thermos from home. And you'd think that, those are small steps, but if you just start to think of it, they become big. And also if you influence that, that makes, even bigger. Um, Eat more greens. You don't have to go vegan, but eat more greens. That makes a huge impact. But also eat what you have at home, what you buy. Use what you have, and that goes for everything. Use what you have. A sustainable lifestyle is not to throw out everything that you have. It's like, use what you have, and then you can buy something new, or pre-loved, of course, or quality. But that's also something that I've really, really changed with the pre-loved. I've always been into vintage, and really old stuff. I like to have that in my home. I think it gives an extra touch. But clothes. I've been buying so much clothes during my years. But now I almost never buy new clothes. Almost never. This sweater, it's actually my mom who's made this in I think like 30 years ago. She gave it to me yesterday. Oh, she gave it to my daughter
Oh,
yesterday, but I
wow.
nicked it. I nicked it. So,
Good
but
mom.
yeah, good mom. But I think with clothes, you just have to. Some people think that it's not fresh enough to buy pre-loved, and I'd say that's a myth. I'm lucky enough to have a super great store around the corner from my house, for my apartment. Actually, it's a bit too close because I go there too often. But where you can buy pre-loved clothes, and I'm just so happy every time I go in there. There's so many people who really use this new way of buying clothes, and yeah, just try it. You'll love it. So I still shop, but I do it in a different way.
Yeah.
Also, the way you travel, it's not, why should we, every time we have a vacation, go to Ibiza or the Canary Islands or whatever? Just, I'm not, I also want to travel and explore the world, and meet new people, but why do it like all the time? So we can just change things that we do in our daily lives.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you because you're a communicator. Your profession is about communication. So many people will say, why is she is giving us the advice about sustainability? She is not a scientist. So do you believe that only people working with sustainability should speak and the others should just listen and keep silent? What is your reflection about this? We also listened to Greta Summer talk, and
Yeah,
Greta has nothing to do with science. I mean,
yeah,
she's not working as a scientist or
yeah.
working directly with sustainability.
Well, if I said no to that question, I could like go to bed now. I think that no, I think that everyone should talk about sustainability. But me, I'm not a scientist. No, I don't have that background at all. But I listen to them. I take their advice, and that's what I use when I put out my message. But I'm also totally transparent with that. I'm not an expert. And I also, I want input, and I get input all the time, new input that I change my way of living. But I definitely think that everyone should talk about sustainability. Just look at Greta, just like you said, she started a revolution. So no, everyone should talk about sustainability.
Yeah, yeah. And also, relating to your story about like buying the clothes from the second hand, because I started with this also just last year, not so many
Mm,
years, last year. But I think that people around me, they didn't really supported me. They'd be like, okay, why you're buying a used clothes? I started to get this negative energy from people around me. And I am doing just this part. Like I'm not going all in as a vegan or not, stop to travel by flight. So how should we think when you're surrounded by people that not really supporting you to change to a more sustainable lifestyle?
well, that could be an obstacle because you need your energy. Um, I would not try to put too much energy into trying to change those who just don't want to change. I have those kind of people around me as well. So sometimes I take discussion, sometimes I don't. And they will change eventually because they won't have a choice because the world around us is changing, and they will have to change as well. But I would use your energy on your own change, and then influence others that might want to become a part of this trip. You simply can't win them all. So I just I'd put the dark clouds aside, actually.
Yeah, and I also started to listen to TED Talk, to people talking about sustainability, and it makes much more sense to put the energy to keep going on this
Yeah.
journey, sustainability journey, than trying to convince people that what I'm doing is good for our planet and good for you as well in the long run.
Yeah, exactly. And there are always people trying to shame, saying, "Oh, you're not doing this good enough, and why are you doing that? You said to me the other day you couldn't do this," and so on. That's just the way people work, and that's change is the hardest thing that we can do. So when you change and other people aren't, they haven't read as much as you, they don't know as much as you, of course they're sort of behind you, but try to influence them, and if you just feel like, okay, they're not moving, just put your
Yeah,
energy somewhere else.
yeah, yeah. And about the Agenda 2030, we have just 10 years left. Do
Yeah.
you do you believe that we're gonna make it? What is your reflection about this topic?
Well, I'm positive, vaguely positive. I'm a positive person, but I'm also a realist. But 10 years is a very short time. Politicians and corporations, they have to wake up. They have to act now. I see huge corporations waking up. I see them do things, but it's too slow. They move with the regulations that are coming. They should just be in the front row. But as us individuals, more and more are waking up, and when we stop buying crap, they can't make crap. So it's just that easy. So the more we're pushing this, the faster it will go. But as I said before, we need the technical improvement. It will be hard, but I say yes, the window is still open. And also just like look at the younger generation, the power they have, all the knowledge they have. When I have discussions with my 11-year-old, she's all into it. They drive change, they have the power. And soon they will become voters. They will become, they will have money. They will lead companies. So I really look forward to that. That's when it will happen.
Yeah, so you believe in the future and it's promising when the younger generation will take over.
Yeah, yeah.
But you also, from what I understand from what you said now, it's not only about the government moving, it's about us starting this change as well, contributing to this agenda.
We do it all together. We're in this all together. Like we only have one planet. Everyone is here. It doesn't matter where you come from. If you're a politician, if you're a leader of a huge company or a small company, or if you're a private person, we're all here. So we can't do this alone. No one can do it alone. We will do it together. But we just have to start ourselves, and then, as I said, influence and share good examples to get more people with us. So yeah, and when you feel secure, just contact politicians, contact corporations. When they feel the pressure, they have to do something, and start like using your wallet as a weapon. Buy things that you want to see more of, and stop buying other things. That's our clearest signal. And also, as I said before, like bring your own and stuff like that. It's just things that you do in your daily life, but also things that you really don't see. Put your pension money into good funds and buy green electricity. Those kind of things as well impact. So I think we do it together, all of us.
Yeah, yeah. But also some of the products, the sustainable products cost so much. For some people, they might cannot afford it every day, buying like super sustainable products, let's say when it comes to food and when it comes to the textile and other stuff. What do you think? How can we do it?
I just don't see it that way. I don't see that it's more expensive. For some products, yes. Like the other day when I was going to buy lemons, and I noticed that the Eco lemons was like 3 times more expensive. But then when I stood in the store, I was like, toxic, no toxic, both for me and the people working with the lemons. Um, but when you stop buying those things every day, you're out just spontaneously shopping. When you stop doing that and you buy pre-loved, that's cheaper as well, you have that extra money. So I really don't see that that's an obstacle.
Yeah. And I'm working with urban planning, as you know, and what I see, we have so many goals to achieve on SDG Agenda 2030. And I believe it's a collective work. It's not only architects can do that, or you as a communicator can do that. We need all of us. And I'm dreaming about this smart city where all people can together be sustainable. So in this podcast, I'm exploring what is a smart city. So in from your perception or point of view, how do you define the smart city?
Um, a smart city is a city that makes sustainable choices easy. It's a municipality that have great public transport, a great way of commuting by bike. Like in Stockholm, for example, I moved into the city center, I think 17 years ago, and I've been biking all that time. And it's really some places it's really really hard to bike because you have to cross around the cars and so on. I also like the idea of the walking streets. I know that you pass one every day, where they stop the car traffic and they put in restaurants instead at summertime. I really really love those streets. I'd like to have those more often. I see that we need to put in lots of parks and greens to get in contact with nature. Playgrounds, ice skating rinks, pools, outdoor gyms, everything that makes the city vivid. Cities are for people and not for cars. I also feel that smart cities should have water pumps, water pumps with free water. That Stockholm used to have that, like, I don't know,
Yeah, uh,
30,
when I
40 years ago.
yeah, when I was in Milano, they were like in every a kind of every street or public square.
Yeah,
But here, I think they removed it in Stockholm, right?
yeah, they're not there, and I think it was because people destroyed them. I heard that somewhere. I don't know if it's true, but I've contacted the municipality a few times, and actually when they have big events like the Stockholm Marathon and things, I see that they put those up. So that's something that could really be useful actually for people not buying flask water every day. And also, I'd like to see more recreating spots like benches where you can sit down and have a talk. In the area where I live now, it used to be like a huge parking lot. That was it. And now it's a whole new city part. And they have done something that's really sweet. They've built a place where they have benches with free games. So you open the table, and inside they have free games, so you can sit down and have a little play. I just love that. And me and my daughter, we've been sitting there having a game. People actually stop by and they smile, and they try to sit down, and they sit down as well. So those kinds of things where people live in the city,
Yeah,
just not transport yourself from school or work to your home, but actually enjoy it, live life.
exactly the city life, and the city is being done based on two parts, like on the architects, urban planner, and government, but also people should show that if you should like how to say show that you're using the park,
Yeah,
biking, showing that there is a need for this kind of design elements, because let's say
exactly.
the government will never know that you need the people likes to bike here, so they don't invest money in this way.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, so I think it's very important that people from each area communicate with the municipality, express themselves, what they need, what they wish,
Yeah,
and not only wait for the municipality architects to understand them. It's like how to say, it's a both way communication conversation.
exactly. That's what I say all the time. Tell what you want.
Mm.
Tell your demands. Like, come with solutions. So things will happen then, I promise.
Yeah. And now I would love to learn many skills from you as you're working with communication. How important is it to speak? How can we express ourselves?
Just in everyday life, as I said, at the lunch table with your neighbors. Um, write an article and send it to a newspaper. I was actually in an accident, a biking accident in the city center of Stockholm, and I was so upset that that the cars have that much space and the bikes don't. So I sent an email to the local newspaper. I think they called me up in 10 minutes time. And then I was on the first page. It was the biggest headline. So, it's not hard. We just have to do it. And that's where the energy comes in again. And, you just have to start somewhere and get a little frustrated, a little upset, and then just do it. Don't be ashamed. Just ask, just tell your demands.
Yeah, take actions.
Exactly. Don't be shy.
Yeah,
And if you do it in a nice, kind way, people don't get upset even. It's if you come with solutions and just don't just whine and moan, you will get there. You will get change. I promise. It's not
yeah.
hard.
So yeah, it's about communicating in the right way with the right
Exactly.
words.
Exactly.
Yeah. And Annika, if you go back in time in a time machine, very high-tech time machine, and you are allowed to change one thing in the city, what will you
Yeah.
change? It will be applied in all cities.
Oh, give me that time machine. I would say no cars in the city. No cars. Because it's if you look at the city, it seems like the focus. And why should the cars be the focus? Just look at Stockholm with the Klara area, which is in the city center of Stockholm, where in the 50s they tore down 700 buildings, mostly because they wanted to build the car parks, the huge concrete houses for cars, and more streets for cars. It's just terrible when you think about it. And now they're trying to rebuild that and use those places to for other things. But no, I'd say take away the cars.
Yeah. And also back again to the part of the community. People build the parking, the garage because the people living in the area have cars. So if people shows that, okay, we're not going to use car and all this parking lot's going to be useless. So we need a shift in the mindset also. It's both
Yeah,
that people start to not use the cars. So the investors see that, okay, if we put money on the parking lots, then it's not worth it. So it's also a
exactly.
kind of
That's
change making.
we come back to it again. We do it together. It's like, it all goes together. We show what we want, yeah, and it's a chain reaction.
Yeah. And if you can add one thing to all the cities on this beautiful planet, what will you add?
That would be more focus on nature, more greens. Concrete makes us unhappy, so more greens, definitely.
Like the greenery behind you.
Yes, just look at it.
Yeah, I love it. I'm trying to have an eye contact with you, but I'm watching the trees and how beautiful they move with the wind, you know?
Yeah, that makes you calm. And
True.
in this life, when everything goes really really fast, you really need the contact with nature, and you really need to slow down, so that helps us.
Yeah. What do you think about COVID-19 and the sustainability lessons that we are learning?
Of course, it's this spring has been terrible in many many ways, both on for people personally, and on a bigger level as well. But for me, and what I hear from both my readers and people around me, it has been a good pause. uh, uh, you know, uh, Not having that much time traveling all the time to work, being able to focus on the work that you do, just sit by yourself and focus. Me, for example, I've had the time to walk with my 11-year-old daughter every morning to school. That's something that I wouldn't have, been able to do, to spend quality time with people. And the earth has really, we've needed this both on a personal level and, yeah, so in so many ways. But it sort of puzzles me, because now we can act. We show that we can act. So why can't we act for the climate? Um, but maybe we will, as when we take the next step in this, and if we don't have a part two of the COVID, where it all rises up again, maybe we can put this effort into the environment. But you can also see that so many companies and corporations have changed their ways. They've had to change their ways. So it's been really bad, but it's also been good.
Yeah. And the change is happening now, and I believe we're reflecting a lot during the COVID-19, but reflecting is not enough. We need to take actions.
Exactly. Exactly. That's what it's all about all the time. Take action.
Yeah. Well, Annika, it was very inspiring to have this conversation with you, and I'm very, how to say, energetic now. You gave a lot of motivation and energy, both from your Instagram account and also by talking to you. So thank you so
Okay.
much
Thank you.
again for giving your time to Urbanistica podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
So what are your three takeaway messages to the listeners?
Um, I think that the first thing is start small. Don't complicate things. Don't think that you have to do it, all in one bite. Just do one thing to start with, and have fun. No fun, no change. So that's my first takeaway. The second one is don't be judgmental, not to yourself if you don't, take steps to as fast as you want to, and don't be judgmental to others. Just be kind. Going back to the kindness, and then I'd say spread the word. When you've done changes, spread the word. Show your good example. That's how we make the biggest impact. And then an extra takeaway. Can I have that one?
Yes, of
Uh,
course.
just start, and you will see how easy it is. It makes your life easier. It doesn't make it harder. So just start.
Yeah, just do it.
Exactly.
And three hashtags as well to the episode.
That must be consciousness, because that is where it all starts. We have to be conscious. Sustainable life, because that's what we were talking about. And then I'd like to add secondhand first, because that is so important that we use what we have. Start using pre-loved. You
Yeah,
will love.
yeah. Amazing. And thank you so much for the hashtags, for the three takeaways.
Thank you so much, and keep up your good work.
Yeah, you too. Keep up the good work, keep loving cities, and hopefully see you back in Stockholm after the summer.
Yeah, sure, definitely. We'll go on a walking street.
Yes, yes. So what is going to happen after the summer? Any plans or any huge projects?
I will keep up working with Medvetenistan, which is my account, the Instagram account, which is in English, Conscious in the City. And I have my own company, so I will keep on working with that.
That's amazing. So see you hopefully in Stockholm. Take care and enjoy the summer.
The same to you. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you so much for listening to Urbanistica podcast. Please follow on Instagram, follow Annika's great account on Instagram. I will include it as well in the text description, and subscribe the YouTube channel to watch the talk. If you have a great story that make our city smarter, please contact me. Urbanistica is being produced in collaboration with Landskapslaget that work with landscape architecture, urban planning and design based in Stockholm. I am Mustafa Sharif. Keep up the good work. Keep loving cities.